Hello and welcome to EduCurious. Today we have two guests actually. We have Dr. Kari Richards and Mr. Jordan Barker. They have been the vision and the mission behind the school, Providence Academy, in our area. So I want to hear all about how they started a school, what they have to offer, and how it has positively impacted our community. So welcome to both of you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Be here.
So Jordan, you are the director of the elementary sector of your school. And Dr. Richards, you are over the soon expanding high school area. Tell me a little bit, and I'll start with you, Mr. Barker. How did you decide to start a school? It's no small feat.
So one of the biggest things was House Bill 1 came across, and what House Bill 1 decided to do was expand the Step Up program. So Step Up is the scholarship program that the Publix Foundation started. That originally was for students with 504s, IEPs, students that would qualify for ESE services so that they could choose to go to a private school or school out of their zone and receive funds for that. So what they decided to do was to take that program and actually expand it into other private schools for all students who qualify as Florida residents. Once that happened, there was a huge wave of, okay, is this a possibility? Is this something that can happen? Is this something our community needs? Is this something that our church could actually do if we put this together? It quickly started with, okay, let's look at it. Let's start small. Let's see how it can look. Let's see if it's even feasible. From there, Dr. Richards and I were both put on, and we actually went and visited some other schools. We talked to other directors to see how they did it from nothing to whatever school they started. After that, we quickly began working with Pastor Jack and Pastor Bonnie to put together a plan and put it into place and see if it was possible. And we started that in March. We ended up opening the school in August. So 6-month turnaround, 5-month turnaround, pretty quick.
Wow. And Dr. Richards, how has your background in education, you've got your doctorate, how has that prepared you to be such a pivotal part of starting a new school?
As far as my educational experience, it has helped me look at the curriculum that we use, make sure it does what we need it to academically, but then also being able to focus on what the kids need at every grade level, differentiate the instruction with the teachers, and help make sure that what we need professional development wise, we're doing that for them. And just finding how it works in the school without having all of the different things that public schools have, all of the access for like ESE and things, special services. We're limited on that because we're a private school. We just don't have the extra funds right now to have that kind of a department. So just learning all of that with some of my background with gifted doing EPs, that has helped with students who might have a 504 or an IEP, seeing if that's something we can still accommodate and on the legal side, not mess up anything.
And either of you can answer this, but when you started collaborating on the school, what was your mission and vision for it? And what do you see in the near future?
So our biggest thing is with it being a Christian school, we wanted to be able to obviously speak to people about the Bible, speak to people about Jesus. But another big part of that is we had to be able to outreach and reach our community. A lot of when we first started, our goal was, okay, what can we do to get people of the community, not just in the church? When we actually first started, probably 70% of our kids, 75% of our kids did not attend our church. They were people of the community that applied, that heard about it. Our biggest thing is we wanted something that was going to be different. There's a lot of really nice private schools in our area, but a lot of them are a very high price tag compared to what people can afford in this area. For us, we wanted to do something that was efficient as possible, but also that people were able to actually afford it and be able actually to bring their kids here without saying, okay, I have to take out a second mortgage, or I have to send my husband to go and do a night job for the next 10 years to be able to do that. So we were really intentional with that. We were really intentional with how can we make this affordable? How can we make this look like our community? How can we impact our community in a positive way? We did that by sitting down, finding out, like Dr. Richards says, there's a lot of things we have. There's a lot of things we don't have. We really had to figure out what the really important and critical things were that was going to help us be successful in the long run.
Initially, we started pre-K 4-year-old through 5th grade. That was our first year. We added 6th grade last year. So we're adding a grade every year until we get to 12th. So we want to be a pre-K 4-year-old to 12th grade school. So once they start with us, they stay with us until they graduate. And we are this coming year adding a big sports component. That's something that we were kind of partnering with different organizations in the community because we only had one sixth grade. And then some of the younger grades also wanted to participate in sports. We're adding that. We're adding that seventh graders can take algebra, then eighth grade geometry, those types of things. And as we get into high school, we're going to look in dual enrollment for different colleges that might want to sponsor some of our students and come alongside us with that. And then looking into what AP type classes we can provide also. So we're wanting to have those capabilities for students where they can have the higher level classes. We are also wanting to build just more community within our school and make sure that we are holding each other to high character, that we are developing them as servant leaders and making sure that once they go into the community, they can be making an impact for the kingdom, really. That's what we're looking at.
And I wanted to add one more thing too. We talked about the academic side. We also have, obviously, I don't think every student is meant for college. I don't think every student is meant to go experience a 4-year school. Some kids try it out and then realize it's not for them. One of the things that we're going to be very intentional about, especially as we get into the later high school years, creating those vocational paths for students. We have already had a bunch of people reach out to us that have electric companies, that have plumbing companies, construction companies, that would love to come in and train students who want that and actually give them the experience at 16, 17 years old instead of just throwing them in and jumping them in. And kid finds out 3 months later he loves it, or 3 months later the kid finds out he never wants to step on a construction site again and it's ruined his life. We have a lot of people that have come alongside us from the community that are very excited for that. Obviously, it's a few years away, but we're very excited because we already have students who we have that they've already said we don't want to go to college and they're in fifth, sixth grade. And so getting them to be successful in life and getting them to a pathway that they can be successful is very important. So we're excited for that as well.
What does it look like as it unfolds, as you have a scalable plan for adding additional grades and then graduating with a state of Florida high school certificate?
So we put into place this past year something that was very vital for that. And we actually became accredited as a school. That was a process. So you have to be in existence for a year before you can start the process. And usually most schools do it within the first 3 to 5 years. We were a little gung ho and did it in a year and a half. But that allows our students' grades to transfer to a college or university if they choose to go, and that they are going to be recognized as an accredited school. So that was very important for us because we want the kids' work to be accepted at any place that they choose to go.
One of our very intentional pieces where we knew we had to build from the bottom up to be successful long term. We started off with one classroom, one grade level at every one. And then when they got to middle school, we expanded to 2 grade levels. So instead of just one sixth grade class, we had 2 this year. And then our kindergarten class, we also had 2. Once they continue to move up, we have to obviously hire teachers to fill in those gaps as we go. But we're very intentional with, okay, we started middle school double classes and we started kindergarten double classes. Once those kids continue to move up, the goal and the hope, fingers crossed, toes crossed, and everything, is that those kids would stay long term and we wouldn't have to fill those spots going forward. But so the growth is very small on a large scale when you look at it. But from year one, we went from 90 to last year we were at 170 when we finished, and then next year we're going to be at about 240. It's a smaller growth compared to what a lot of schools do when they just jump in full steam all the way across the board. But for us, we really wanted to put systems in place where we can get our staff very comfortable and knowledgeable about what we're doing before we start to add more students and more staff members and more community members that are involved. And so start small, create systems that work, fix them as we go, because there's a lot of things that we have fixed, a lot of things that we've made better along the way, but just being intentional with those developments.
I want to hear a little bit more about those systems in place, how you attract and retain and develop your educational force, your teachers, your paras, your support staff, because as you're growing, I'm sure you're wanting your educators to grow along with you and continue to be lifelong learners. Tell me about that.
So one of the things that we've put in place that I don't think most places do are when we hire paras, one of the first conversations we have with them are, do you want to be a teacher in the future? There are so many educators that, or so many para educators that never want to be a teacher and they just want to work the school hours as their kids or their grandkids. And that's phenomenal. That's wonderful. We have a couple of those on staff. We love them. We're very excited to have them. But there's a huge component where a lot of paraprofessionals are people who had to go into the workplace early alongside of their college. And I think that is often one of the most untapped markets of incredible potential that is not used. For us, we were really intentional with the pairs that we hired from year one. And when we had those conversations, we were able to put in multiple pairs that wanted to become a teacher. They were able to work alongside their teacher, see what the teacher does, see the planning, even be kind of given their own internship in our process so that they can take over a class for a week or they can do the sub plans. They can do all these things. That was really one of our biggest building blocks. This year, we actually hired one of our first ever paras to be our first grade teacher. We're very excited. We know that she's going to be ready. We are very much confident in her skills because we got to see it firsthand. I think oftentimes schools are so quick to just take the person with the most experience or take the person that looks the best on paper, where for us, because we are so small, we do have to have someone that really fits in with the rest of the staff. And I think that's a really big thing. And I don't mean that to sound bad. There's some people that are incredible and they're wonderful, but they won't fit. They want to work more as silos instead of as a full team. For us, we start with that team mentality where everybody's in this together. We get together. We during our staff meetings, we talk about struggles. We talk about what's going well. We talk about how we can help each other. We actually, to kick off the next school year, we're going to have a couple water slides and a pool party for our whole staff and all their families. So we're going to have 100 people together going down 24-foot water slides, probably hurting the next day. But it's getting to see people outside of the classroom. It's getting people to see others as humans, where I think that's often a forgotten time during education. Those are very, very critical systems to put in place. For us, when we had only one teacher per every grade level, and especially learning new curriculum, we didn't pull the teachers all the time. We didn't have as many meetings as other schools have to do. For us, we would do quick check-ins with teachers. Hey, do you need anything? Do you need copies? Do you need new curriculum? Do you need reading books? Do you need a break? Do you need whatever? And we could step in, quickly help them, and then let them get back to what they're doing. The teachers make the magic in the classroom, giving them those tools, giving those things that they can do to be successful, and then backing out and, staying in my own lane as an administrator. And where it's like, hey, we trust you to do what you're doing in the classroom. So let me give you the tools and I can step back out of the way.
Yeah. So, one thing we did do this year when we sat down with all of them with their evaluations, we talked about some of the strengths they had and what they could provide for others. We've got some key individuals who have really good strengths in certain areas. We're having them come alongside Jordan and me so we're not pulled all over the place, and they're going to be doing some of the professional development and using what their knowledge is, and it's very valuable. They're going to be the key people that people are going to contact. They're going to run the professional development and explain different things that the staff can use in the classroom to develop their lessons or do small groups or different things like that, using technology better and finding ways that we can make them more leaders, and also acknowledging their abilities and what they can bring to the table, and not just that they're a teacher in a classroom. So giving them a lot more value. Also, we are trying to implement where Jordan and I are in the classroom on a regular basis. We try to go in daily and just walk through so that we can see what's going on. We know the kids, and when the teachers come to us and say there's an issue, we've probably already seen it because we've been in there so much. So that's something that we really try to focus on, is letting them know that we're going to be in there. We're going to be helping them. We're coming alongside them. We're not in there to do a gotcha. We're in there to support them.
How do you go about the attracting and retaining these educators or potential leaders within your school?
So we've really done zero advertising. The really cool thing is when you start brand new, it attracts a lot of eyes, especially in a small town. I know people would be shocked that this is a small town, but this starting over, starting new, and then obviously, I had a little bit of experience on the elementary side. Doc had a little bit of experience on the elementary and middle side. So when we first started, we did have a little bit of positive reputation with us. So when we first started, people knew, okay, there are actually some people who are involved in education going alongside this journey. From there, once we put out the positions, we really did no recruiting. We did no advertising with it. We put it on the first year, we put it on the Facebook and we put it on the website. And then we sat back. We did not receive a ton of applications year one, but everybody that came in and we interviewed, we're like, oh, this is who we're hiring. This is who we are. And so year one was not as many. Then year two, I think because of the way we looked at our staff and we treated our staff and we spoke with our staff and how we held ourselves to higher standards alongside of coming with them. They started talking to their other friends that are still educators at other places. Families see how you treat other people. For us, it was a lot less of advertising and telling everybody what we are versus actually living it on a daily basis. And so going back to being a small town, I worked at the same school for 10 years. I loved it. It was incredible. I wouldn't change anything that I had about it. But once I left, people still had to see me outside of that. And they still had to decide, okay, is this someone who we would send our kid to in the future? Is this something we trust? And so, um, yeah, I mean, I wish there was a better answer for it. We really, after we get people on staff, we have lost 0% of our staff from year one. So everybody we hired year one is still with us. And the only people that we've lost along the way, there were two that moved for jobs other places, and then there's one that left us to go to college. And I give her a hard time all the time. She's going to UF. There's a lot better places she could have chosen. She could have went to Michigan. She could have done all these other places. But we're very excited for her. The minute that she told us that was her plan, we supported her in it. We helped her along the way. And so I think it's seeing your staff as humans as well. We have told people to take care of their family first, and we don't just say it. We send people. They'll come to us, hey, my child has an awards program at this school at this time. You're going. We're getting coverage. Like if there's no option of you not going, I think schools, when they get back to seeing people as humans first and they see them as family, your retention rate and your recruiting rate goes through the roof.
I think also just like he said, treating them as humans, knowing that they will make mistakes and we talk to them, we go to them and we just have conversations with them if there's something they need to work on, just like we would want to be talked to. And we just say, hey, this is what I saw. Let's go ahead and let's fix this. How can we help you? And we don't wait till the end of the year with a laundry list of all the things that we saw throughout the year. We work on things as we see them and we build up their character as adults because they're examples for our students. We sometimes have to have difficult conversations with our staff, but then they know that it's coming from a loving environment and it's because we want them to be better and that they can then in turn be better for their students.
How has your education experience or the places you've worked, the leadership opportunities that you've challenged yourself with, how has that prepared you for today? And just talk about some of your experiences that really were meaningful and impacted you as a person.
My first year teaching was in kindergarten. And then my next year was in first grade, and I was there for 8 years. And then I went to middle school and taught sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. So that experience with the span of ages showed me the foundational part, which is so vital. And if you don't have that foundation, then you can't build a quality student. They're going to struggle if they don't have those basic skills. And I've seen once I got to middle school, students who weren't reading in middle school. And that should have been caught way early. And a lot of the times the education system just passes them on. And that's hard for us to see as educators that they didn't get the support they needed when they needed it. That's one thing we've really targeted at our school, that we're not just passing on a kid. Sometimes that's a difficult conversation with parents, but we are also trying to build in the supports with using our paraeducators in the classroom and giving the teachers extra support to pull those groups that are smaller or one-on-one. That's something that I learned in the classroom, just the progression of how a student should learn. And then as a leader, I've had good principals that have poured into me. Dr. Moses was a huge mentor for me and pretty much pushed me to do my national boards, to do my master's, and then to start my doctorate. Having a mentor that was there to walk alongside me and see my potential was huge for me. And then being able to in turn do that with my staff and encourage them and promote them to do what they have in them. And they may not see it yet, but build them up to then be successful at something that we see in them.
Mr. Barker, talk about your journey. You have done so many different things and gotten quite some recognition for your great job teaching. So kick it off.
So when I was in college, I was actually just going to be a math teacher. Thought I wanted to be a high school math teacher and then coach high school basketball. And that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. Well, Polk State, when I went there, and they told me I was going to be another 2 semesters to finish my math degree versus I could finish that semester as an elementary educational degree. So I was like, okay, let's just go to elementary ed. I did that and I immediately loved it once I got in the classroom. I had some incredible practicum experiences, intern experiences. I actually had one in kindergarten as well at Polk Avenue, and it was phenomenal. I got to see kids that, every spectrum of child, whether the kids are coming in reading, kids are coming in, they have no idea what left and right is. They have no idea what the number one is. They have no idea what up, down, all these things. So to start off my journey, I got to see that. And then Babson Park took a chance on me when I was still in college as a permanent sub. And they threw me in a fourth grade classroom, which I had to teach writing. And I tell people all the time, I'm a terrible writer, but I've had to teach myself how to write. When I first started, I was learning alongside the students so much. I think that's what made me a better teacher as well, because I didn't know everything and I didn't know how to do a lot of the things that I had to teach the kids how to do, especially writing and reading. So I had to reteach myself a lot of those things. But as I got going, there are so many mentor teachers that took me under their wing that really spoke life into me and spoke meaning into things that I was doing. Lisa Portwood was one that I worked with every year when I was there, and she really showed me the importance of relationships, of how getting to know the kids. And she would talk to me all the time. Oh, this kid, this is why they're struggling. These are things that are going on in their life. When she knew that as an educator, I took a step back and I'm like, why do I not know this about my kids? The first couple of years, I really had to challenge myself to be different. Another person that was absolutely incredible at Babson Park that really helped me was Connie Barnes, and she's the ESE teacher there. And she got to show me how you really need to think outside the box and do things differently for every single kid. We oftentimes, I think, when we're first starting off in education, every kid should belong in this box. It's a cookie cutter education. And she quickly got me out of that mindset where it's like, here are things you should have seen this in this kid. These are things you should have done. I started to kind of take and pick. I think education is one of those where we copycat. We copied the best parts of other people. And so I quickly became a teacher who was taking a little bit of this teacher, a little bit of this teacher, and making it my own. I tell people all the time, my first few years of education was a lot more of me trying to be the favorite teacher, which looking back at it now, I wish I would have never been that way, but it helped me grow. I think I was way too friendly. I was way too laxed on procedures. And then when I quickly realized that our kids need procedures, kids want routine, they want a schedule, just like us as an adult, when we are just told, oh, you have the whole day, we have no idea what to do. That's really what transformed my teaching early on. And then, like I said, I spent 10 years at the same place. I taught the same grade level for all 10, but I had a different team, I think, for 7 of the 8 years. I mean, the 7 of the 10 years that I was there. So I got to work with a lot of people, see some really incredible things. And then throughout my education, when I decided to go back for ed leadership, my administration was wonderful. They talked to me. They actually shared with me the good side, the bad side, the things that nobody talks about. Rebecca Thomas and Elizabeth Tyler were wonderful in those aspects. Every time I had questions or every time I was doing an assignment, they checked on me. And so it really helped me grow as more than just a teacher. Because I think when I first started, I was a teacher, but then you become an educator, then you become more of an impact person in education. That's where I am. Now, as an administrator, I have to remember some of my greatest times were when administration was standing outside my door and watching what I was doing, but they didn't have an impact, but we knew that they were there. As an administrator, I want my staff to feel the same way, that I'm there, but I'm not overcrowding. I'm not stepping on their feet. They have the creativity. They have the free reign to do what they need to. And then as they need support, as they need help, we're there to support and help.
How do you feel that you've grown as a leader since being in this position of opening a new school?
So when we first started year one, Dr. Richards and I, we were actually splitting the fifth grade teaching and then splitting administration. I was an administrator in the morning. And then when Doc would send the kids to specials, I would then come in and teach the rest of the day. But there were really no breaks. There was no sitting down. There was really no anything. That first year, it was a lot of running on fumes. But Dr. Richards and I would joke all the time, if there's ever a problem or something that we needed to address, there was about a 30 to 45-minute window that we would quickly have to talk about it. And then we went our separate ways. We didn't see each other again until car riders after school. As a leader, I have gotten to learn so much from our teachers because we have had open conversations. We've said, what did you What have you liked what we've done? What have you not liked? Being able to have those conversations without the feelings attached to it, without the, okay, please don't say this because I don't want to hurt my feelings. I think I'm perfect. We have had those conversations, and I never want to be someone that they can't have a conversation with. From that, I have grown to, okay, how can I support you now? Okay, I know you as an educator. I see how you walk through the door. Something is different. I think one of my biggest aspects as an administrator is being able to support. I went from, okay, I thought that only my support was here, let me buy you another book, or let me buy you new curriculum, or let me buy you whatever you needed in an aspect. But sometimes it's literally just coming down and sitting at a table and talking to your teacher for 2 minutes. Hey, are you good? Is there any kids that you need help with? Is there anything going on? And one of the things that our teachers constantly do, hey, I have this child that's struggling in this aspect. Do you have an idea? I have not I have not taught some of the grade levels that obviously we have, but I have to be able to support those people in that role. There's oftentimes where I tell people, and this is huge, I think, as a leader, because oftentimes we get extended and stretched out and we think we have to have an answer in the moment. There's so many times where I tell them, I do not have an answer right now. If you can give me a day, I will come back and I will have a strategy or I'll have an activity for you. There are often times where Dr. Richards and I will have that conversation where we walk away and we're like, okay, this is what the teacher told us. This is what we do. But instead of just answering things on the spot and it not being genuine, it is taking every single one of those opportunities as a leader and seeing what we can do more because of it. There's many times where I've had to literally my pride, take my ego and put it to the side where it's like, I don't know that answer. Please give me a day. Let me figure this out. Let me do this together. And I think being a leader, you have to be transparent. I've been so transparent these 2 years where there's many times where Dr. Richards and I literally have to look at someone and say, just trust us. There's nothing I cannot tell you the conversations behind closed doors right now. Just trust us. But then there's other times where I'm like, okay, tell us everything you can, pour it out to us. We're going to pour out to you everything we can, and we're going to figure this out together. Transparency and being able to put your pride and your ego aside to truly be in the moment and help people, I think are the two biggest ways that I've grown.
So, a few ways I've grown. One, obviously, learning how to run a school, something I don't know how to do or didn't know how to do. And I'm still learning in that aspect as we grow it and what requirements there are, all of those different regulations, the things that we have to keep on top of all the time. A lot of what I do. Jordan's the budget guy. I'm more the paperwork, keeping things up to date with the files and things like that. So knowing what requirements there are for schools and what documentation you have to have, things that are kind of like in the background. I've learned a lot of that. I've grown as a leader on that. Also, though, having hard conversations with parents and giving grace to parents, to students, to teachers, but then also holding them accountable. A lot of times the parents have to learn alongside the students, and that's something that we've discovered where the kids that have been passed on and schools are giving grades because they tried, but they didn't quite get that. Now we're holding them accountable and saying, we're not going to pass this child because they don't know this skill. And that's a difficult conversation because they don't understand that the whole stigma about being retained. It's sometimes kids just need some more time and letting parents understand that and seeing that we genuinely care about their success. We want them to be successful. We don't want them to struggle the rest of their life going through school because they're behind already. And we want to be able to make an impact on them in a positive way, give them the support they need in the area which they need. And if pushing them to the next grade is going to put them farther behind, that's not something we're wanting to do. So just having those conversations and letting them understand the decisions that we're trying to make for them to help make their child better, but then also giving the parent support on what do I do with my child when they are retained? How do I talk to them about that? Or a behavior situation. How are we handling that and making sure that it's going to be the best positive outcome for everyone? And just having conversations with students who are struggling instead of just saying, all right, you're suspended or you're in detention or whatever. It's having those conversations about what you're doing wrong. This is why you should be doing it this way. How can we fix it and walk alongside you? And then following up with the kids and not just, okay, we're done with this conversation, never bring it back up. Checking in with them and saying, all right, how's it going today? How's your day? Is your relationship with so and so getting better? Are you guys trying to stay away from each other if it's something like that? So just trying to find ways to lead well, but also stay humble and know that it takes an entire team to run a school. It's not
Absolutely.
Jordan and me, and we are still learning. So also knowing that we don't have all the answers, like he said, and we don't know what next year's going to look like. We don't know what 12th grade's going to look like. We aren't there yet. So we keep joking around that for the next 6 years, we're figuring it out. And so far it's working, but it's also a learning process.
What has been one of your biggest challenges that really stuck out and that you've had to overcome and that you've become a better person because of it?
So I have a professional one and then I have a personal one. So the professional one, for us starting a brand new school, our first year, many of our students came from homeschool. Many of our students came from different co-op groups. One thing that was not always at the top of people's list was punctuality. Our students, the first year we talked about that we started the school year with 90, probably within the first 2 weeks of school, we probably had 60 of those kids tardy in the first 2 weeks of school. We quickly had to get back to the drawing board and figure out how can we hold these kids accountable? How can we hold these parents accountable for getting their kids here? We went from, I don't know, we had probably over 1,000 tardies the first year with only 90 kids to start. And then we worked it into, we have our own policy. We have different things in place where some of those kids that were late 2, 3, 4 days a week the first year were not late at all the second year. That was a significant thing for us. We talk about all the time. Once kids are on our campus, they're learning, they're in process, they're in their routines, their procedures. For us, we really had to get parents to understand that mindset too of my kid has to be here on time. My kid has to do the right things in order to see the full growth, to see how my child can go from a C student all the way to an A student, or a student who gets a 70% and now is getting a 90%. We really had to help change the mindset of the parents, which was not easy. And a lot of them were very upset. And, well, I want to bring my kid to whenever I want to bring them. That's not what we're going to do here. We very quickly changed that mindset. For me personally, there's a lot of people that I work with that I know outside of the school or that I've worked with for many years. It's always still setting those boundaries of where does the professionalism end at one point? And at one point, do I become their friend outside of the school like I am versus their administrator and their leader at the school? That's really been a tough line for me for most of my years. I coached Little League Baseball, I coached basketball, I played in men's league basketball. There's so many different things that I've done where people know me with different hats. But then I've literally had to talk to the staff at different times and say, okay, this is parent Jordan Barker coming in as my 3 kids go to the school, trying to figure out how I can wear all these different hats and be successful with the staff. I tell people all the time, don't treat my kids any differently. Hold them to the same standard. I've seen it where it goes the opposite way at schools and it's terrible. For me, I want my kid to be treated just like any other kid. I have to find that boundary and the personal life, which also leads into obviously the school life because my kids go to the school and I am one of the educational leaders there. But I constantly have to figure out what's the right way to approach a situation, what is the way to come into the conversation, and then also once we're talking, where do we go from there, and figuring out the boundaries, the professional boundaries, where they stop, where they go, um, because all in all we are a very small school that is going to continue to grow, but I want our staff to understand where we are at all times.
So professionally, I think it's delegating. I've always had a lot of hats on when I've been at a school. And as a leader, you have to delegate because you can't do it all. That's been something that's been a challenge. And with being a small school, you don't have many people to delegate to because you're all doing a lot. Just figuring out who's able to do those things. And I think as we're going into year 3, and I mentioned that we have different people set up to do different professional development. That takes a lot off of our plates that we can say, okay, if you're a Canva person that's wanting to learn, you're going to go to this person. If you're wanting to learn about small groups, you're going to this person. So we have some of those things in place where minor things like that can go to those people and it's not going to bog us down to do the bigger things. Just learning how to navigate what I should be focusing on versus what I have to focus on. We don't have like a full office staff. We don't have an office secretary. We don't have a nurse. So Jordan and I are all those things, finding out ways that we can do our leadership role and not be stuck in those little things that sometimes happen. But then personally, taking the time with my family that's needed because running a school and developing a school every year is a lot. Having the boundaries with my staff, just you guys want a weekend too. You don't want parents to contact you. So we're going to have some limits on that too, and have had to just kind of give them, hey, this is the weekend. This is something we can wait on till later. I don't mind if my staff talks to me at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying sometimes there's things that can wait till Monday. And if I'm dealing with my family, I'm going to spend time with them and focus on them if it's not a priority that has to happen over the weekend. So just knowing that fine line.
On the flip side of that, what's been your greatest accomplishment? It can be from coaching Little League and winning All Stars to, I mean, opening a school is a big feat. I would say that is like number one. But aside from that incredible accomplishment, what's something that has just filled you with pride?
I'd say for me, the greatest accomplishment. So I loved school growing up. I really enjoyed it. I loved the social aspect. I loved the math side. I loved the learning new things. I loved being a teacher's pet. I was one of those kids that I probably would hate to have in the classroom when I was younger because I was always one of those that was like, oh no, it has to be the same every single day. I have three daughters. I mean, I'd say my accomplishment is getting them to love school. Even during the summer now, we finished before Memorial Day. So our kids, this is our second week of full summer, and my kids are asking for school activities. My kids are asking to take AR tests. They're asking for me to create them a math paper. The teachers that we have in place have made learning and love to learn and the educational experience so fun that these kids still want it in the summer. I take so much pride in that. My kids want to continue to learn. They want to continue to read the Bible and talk about it because they learn about that in class. And it's so cool because you never know when you have kids. Are they going to love school? Are they not going to love school? Are they going to be these things? And my wife and I, we had to be very intentional with how we approach school as school teachers. Because oftentimes, as school teachers, the first thing we say is when people are, oh, should I go into education? No, it's awful. No, don't do it. It's too much time. It's this. We love our jobs in education, but getting our kids to love education the way we do is not a natural thing. We really had to be intentional. We had to hope that they would love it. And they all three love it. They love that we get to drive to school every day. They love that they stay after some days and they do extra work. They love that they get to help other people set up classrooms. That's my biggest thing. My girls loving school, my girls wanting to be at school, my girls wanting to learn and be the best they can has been such an accomplishment because it'd be very easy for those types of kids to be turned off by the extra hours at school. And it's the opposite. They don't want to leave.
And mine is very similar to his, just on a grander scale. We're not quite sure how we did this. We don't have a formula, but we've created an environment that all the kids really like school. People were asking us before school was out, how many days left? We don't really count down. We like it so much. The staff likes it so much that, yeah, we're excited for summer, but we are okay. If we had year-round school, our kids would probably be fine with it because they didn't really want to leave. Last year when Jordan and I were teaching fifth grade, I was asking them if they were excited for summer, and they're like, yeah, but we really like school. We want to stay here. To have that kind of impact on kids that they want to come to school and are excited about it and aren't looking forward and loving the fact that they're going to be out for the summer. And we see them around church and they're asking when they can come back. It's an environment that kids love to be in. And that's something that's huge. Again, I don't know how we did it.
It is contagious.
Yeah.
And I think that is the secret formula, is to be authentic, transparent, and to just exude like, I love learning. Say I'm a parent and I watch this and I haven't heard of Providence Academy. Walk us through those steps of how I can apply, how I can get involved, like that whole thing.
We have open enrollment process from January to middle of February every single year, and that's for the year that will be coming after. But at any time, if people want information or they want to know who we are, what we're doing, if they want to get on the wait list, they can go to our website, providenceacademylw.com. From there, it has all of our information about tuition, it has our hours, it has who we are, what we believe, and it really does provide a really quick glimpse and a quick picture of who we are so that people have some answers. And then on there is our application that they can always fill out. It has our phone number. We tell people all the time, we're glad to have conversations at any time. During the school year, we'll get probably 10 to 15 people that just stop by randomly on campus and they want to take a tour and they want to look at it. One of the things that we take very seriously is our security. So we don't do just open tours, bringing anybody in. What we do is one of the processes that we go through for enrollment is every family comes and does a family interview. We sit down with the parents, we sit down with the kids, and we talk about who we are, what we believe, what we offer on campus. And then after that, that's when we do a campus tour. People can walk through the classes, they can walk through the hallways, because then there's no students on campus. We want everybody to be very safe in the process. So, but everything starts with the website, providenceacademylw.com. And then from there, it has all the information. It has how to reach out to us, has our emails, and we would love to speak with anybody if they have any questions or anything from there, and to best support families and their educational journey.
So Dr. Richards, on the paperwork side, I'm sure you're very familiar with that part. How about I'm worried about how do I pay for this? What's that process look like?
So we are actually a very affordable private school. We use Step Up for most of the tuition. And if there are families who need extra support, then we do have a scholarship application that they can fill out to help support them with the remaining balance. But that is something where we have some sponsors who believe in what we're doing and they want to make it affordable. We don't want to be an elitist school where you have to have a ton of money to get there. We want this to be an opportunity for anybody who's interested. So we want to make it so that it's affordable.
Is it a separate application, the Step Up Scholarship, or all part?
The Step Up for Student Scholarship is that you would go to their website and complete. And then if they can't afford the remaining balance, then they would contact us independently and say, I can't afford this extra amount. What can I do to apply for the scholarship through the school itself?
And the step up is so easy, where people often, a lot of our students, once they come to us, they've been at a charter or a public school. So by the time they get to us, they've never done step up before. As long as they can show Florida's residency, they will get approved. I'm the step up guy because I have messed up my personal kids' applications the first year. We got declined 3 times. So you have to get declined and then you reapply. I was putting the wrong birth certificate with my daughter. I was putting the birth certificate for one daughter with another. When you have 3 that all start with the same letter, sometimes you become blind to the name. We joke now, because I've been declined and I've had to go through basically the bottom all the way up to the top with it. I know the ins and outs of what the families will see and what they'll experience. So once they apply from there, they'll let us know their award ID number and it gets attached. And it's a super easy process, but it is very overwhelming if you don't know. So when we accept a student, we send them an acceptance letter. And in the acceptance letter, it talks about how to apply. It talks about the paperwork we need, all those types of things. So, but it's a very easy process. Very overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing, but the minute you have somebody to support you or help you, very, very easy process.
And that goes back to how you always are doing whatever it is alongside and bringing them along. So can you summarize what your school believes? It's what you're all about, like the mission vision, just to sort of like encapsulate that.
Yeah, so we believe that we want to develop students who are going to impact the world as kingdom leaders. We want to develop them in their Christ-like character. We want to make sure that they are also being educated in a high quality environment and that they can, when they leave us, navigate the world through a biblical lens. A lot of kids, when they leave school and go off on their own, they lose their faith. And so we want to make sure they have a strong foundation academically, but also spiritually, that their faith is strong and that that's something that supports them through the rest of their life.
And so when we started, we kind of wrote out goals of what a student coming from us until the 12th grade would look like. And it really breaks down into 2 things. But one, the very first one, like Dr. Rich talked about, is somebody who understands their beliefs, somebody who understands the Bible, somebody who understands who Jesus was, which is going to be the most important thing for us. A student can be as smart as they can, but if they have not understood the Bible and they've not understand what we've taught them about Jesus, we're missing something. And then second part of that is the educational side. We want somebody who is prepared for the world. The world is going to look a lot different when these kids graduate versus where they are now. Giving them the skills, giving them the confidence, giving them the ability to adapt, to change, to be the best that they can be is very important. Those are the 2 aspects. We have the spiritual side and then the academic side. That's who we are. That's what we believe. That's where everything comes from. All of our goals, all of our tasks, everything, we have to look back at those 2 things and say, are we accomplishing these 2 things by what we're doing? If it's a yes, we'll probably continue. If it's not, then we have to get back to the drawing board and figure that out. So, and one of the things that I did want to talk about, we want to impact our community in such a positive way. As we get kids that are older, there's many things that obviously we have to do for community service hours or those things, but getting kids to see their community and that they can have an impact on it without a grade being attached or without an assignment being attached is very important. We have a lot of kids that are involved in 4-H. We have a lot of kids that are involved in Girl Scouts. We have a lot of kids that are involved in all these other things that make the community a better place. And even though they don't have, a Providence Academy shirt on while they're doing it, they're going outside of our walls and making the world a better place based on who they are. It makes me excited. I think it gets everybody that's involved excited and ready to see these kids make a true impact.
Is there anything that you would like to let the community know about, that maybe common questions or just something that you would like them to know about Providence?
People always think because we're a private school that we're not the same as everybody else. We're the exact same people that are in your community. We're the exact same people that just wanted something different than a public school. We have a lot of kids. We have a lot of staff members that taught at charter. They started at private schools. They taught at magnet schools. They talked to other private schools. This is just a place to be different. A lot of kids need a fresh start. A lot of kids love school until something major happens. Sometimes a fresh start is what really just gets them to change. For us, we truly believe in fresh starts. Even in the Bible, Jesus, when he got his 12 disciples, he took some of the worst people and he gave them a completely fresh start and changed their names, changed their paths. We do the same thing with our students. When they come in, they get a fresh start. We always tell people when we meet them, you get to be whoever you want to be here. Whether you decide to be the nice kid, whether you decide to be the super athletic kid, or if you decide to be the kid that is going to be the smartest kid and change the whole world and do all these things. That's who you get to be. We're a very normal place that gets to see the best in kids. We get to see the best in families. We get to support families in everything they do. So I'd just like to reiterate, we are a perfectly normal people of the community. We are the same people who we were before we started this place. And that's just who we are. It's authentic. It's real. It's not something that we have to force, but our staff and our students really buy into that. And they've grown together, which has been a really cool thing to see.
We're not out to compete against anybody. We're just an option, and we're not for everybody, but the families who are with us, we again hope that they're there long term, because we want to build those long term relationships and see them through their successful years of elementary, middle, and high school.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today on EduCurious. It's great talking to you, Mr. Barker and Dr. Richards. You're two educators I've always looked up to. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just EduCurious, join the community as we explore various educational topics and learn from each other. We'll see you next time.